from the bottom, ain't no problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay. We from
What's going down, gamblers around the world? It's your boy, the coach, representing Brothas N Bets since day one, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Marley Betts. Marley, what's going down with you?
What's going down? Same old, man. Ready to get at it. Let's get it. Watching this baseball. You know.
What's the score right now? Are they still in the top of the seventh or what?
3-0. Bottom of the seventh is about to start. Inning. Top of the seventh just ended. Still 3-0.
Yep, I don't like that. I was advised to take a peek, but it is what it is. Got to keep it moving. And we're here for our guest, who's actually been here since done more shows than I have, Mr. Flat Top. Matt Flat Top, what's going on with you?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to get into this, win some money this week, enjoy some football. So, ready to get after it.
All right. Well, since we're talking about some money this week, let's kind of go over how we are looking for the year. As far as myself, I'm 4 games over 500. I'm at 20-16. Marley, he's at 42-35-2. And Flat Top, you're right there at 500 at 25-25. But you actually had a good outing last week. You went 6-4. Marley went 11-7. And as for myself, I'm in the losing bracket with 5-6. Thought we were going to start off pretty good. U of H first half, that messed me over. They had it, and they just got real laxed at the end, so that kind of messed me up. And then, Ole Miss messed me up. And Texas, I think Texas pretty much let a lot of people down, especially here in the state of Texas. But other than that, we just got to bounce back, man. How do y'all feel about last week? Anything y'all want to talk about? Get off your chest, vent, and then move on?
Me personally, man, started out 5-0. Coastal first half, Coastal full game. Shout out to Tequila King. By the way, I told him I was going to shout him out on the show. I don't know if anybody saw the saw the Twitter or the comments in the YouTube. Man, put 60,000 based on our prediction for the Coastal game. Took the 19.5. Posted his picks on Twitter for us to see that he wasn't bullshitting. Cashed on that. Asked for a shout out. So shouting out to Tequila King right now on that bet.
We also owe a shout out to what's our guy's name?
Des Moines.
Des Moines Dave. Yes. So we're actually a week late. So he wanted us to shout him out last week when it was Iowa -3, and we talked them on that trending line. So
shout out Des Moines Dave is a day one from the old channel. When it first got started, the channel that had 2,000 subs, he was there at the beginning of that channel. So shout out Des Moines Dave. But I mean, as far as the week go, man, they got started out 5-0, Coastal first half, Coastal full game, U of H full game, Charlotte money line, and then like you said, come Saturday, man, UT let down, Penn State quarterbacks get hurt, let down, BYU gets upset, let down, USC let down. So those games kind of killed me. On a brighter note, it was somebody in the comments on YouTube that said FIU money line something. Can't remember what But I posted on the. I hope you're in here right now. I hope you see this. If you're not in here right now, don't fade me, bro. That's what I put on my comment. Don't fade me, bro.
Well, you know he was a Florida fan, so I looked at his deal. He had the Miami Hurricanes as his thumbnail, and I was like, oh, okay.
Stick to those Hurricanes. Don't fade me.
Well, let's kind of jump right into it, man. We're going to be covering the weekday games for this week. We're starting tomorrow. We got some Tuesday action. This is my favorite time of the year, man, when we start to get football on every single day of the week.
Yes.
I know I'm pretty sure all the gamblers around the world love it too. So let's just jump right into it. We got Appalachian State traveling to UL Lafayette. This could potentially be a Sun Belt Conference championship preview, depending on how these teams finishes. But there are some foes on both sides that may have something to say. I know for the West side, at UTSA right now, they may have some things to say about how they feel about this one. But It is what it is. Only time will tell. So let's jump right into it. UL Lafayette actually opened up in favor of -1. Right now, that line is at -5 in favor of App State. So we definitely need to cover and make sure there's not injuries going on. You know, these smaller schools, they like to tend to withhold information until game day, right at kickoff, and then we have the announcer saying, "Oh, so and so's missing, so and so's out with COVID." So on and so on. So it's very important to see what's going on with the Raging Cajuns at this moment. But App State, the Mountaineers, they're 4-1 on the year, 3-2 against the spread, while the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, they are also 4-1 on the year, but only 1-4 against the spread for the year. For App State right now, Harrington, he is questionable for this game this week. It's undisclosed, and Peoples, he missed last game and is probable for this game as well. So we definitely need to see what's going on. And Noel, the running back, he is questionable for this game as well with something with his toe. Now for Louisiana Lafayette, Rubio, offensive lineman, he is questionable for this game. They did lose a defensive lineman, Landry. He's out for the season. Their kicker is out for the season as well. Harrington, the offensive line, he's been out for 4 to 6 weeks. My receiver, Bonnie, he is questionable for this game, as well as Bites. He is questionable for this game as well as wide receiver. Last game for Appalachian State, they beat Georgia State 45-16, while UL Lafayette, they beat South Alabama 20-18. Both these teams are kind of on some win streaks right now, so let's get to the actual factuals. App State 6-12 against the spread in the last 18 games. The over's gone over 5 out of the last 7. They're 6-1 straight up in the last 7 games and 8-1 straight up in the last 9 games when playing against the Raging Cajuns. 11-3 straight up on the road in the last 14 games and 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games this season. The Raging Cajuns, they are 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games. The unders hit 4 out of the last 5. But they're at 11-1 straight up in the last 12 games. The unders also hit 4 out of the last 5 when playing against App State. They're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games this season and 7-0 straight up in the last 7 games when playing against a Sun Belt Conference opponent. Louisiana Lafayette hosting Appalachian State. Marley, how do you feel about this one?
We briefly talked about this game before we came on. I think it's a real tight game. I like App State when I initially looked at it without diving into the numbers. The advantage I think they have is at the quarterback position. I'm not, based off the numbers, I'm not a big believer in Levi Lewis. Although he hasn't played bad in terms of turning the ball over. He's thrown 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, but his QBR is only 55.4. And last week he went 9 for 20 with only like 40, maybe 50 yards passing, which in my opinion makes them very, very one-dimensional. They're averaging 166 yards rushing a game. Their schedule is similar to Appalachian State, maybe Appalachian a little bit tougher. They both got 1 loss, 1 to Miami, 1 to Texas. I think App State wins the game, but I actually think the Raging Cajuns are going to cover this at home. This is a revenge game for App State. They lost that 1-8 record you talked about. The one win the Raging Cajuns have against this team is from last year. That's their first win in program history against App State. So this is a revenge game for App State. So I think they'll be motivated. I'm going to take the Raging Cajuns plus the 5 points as an official play, but I think App State actually wins this game. I think it'll be tight, though. I think App State's the slightly better team. They're going to get slightly better, if not a lot better quarterback play out of Bryce. But I'm gonna take the 5 with the Raging Cajuns. Bryce, man, he can play. He's a pretty good quarterback. 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 67.9 QBR. But versus his conference, his QBR jumps up to 71.4. I really like App State. I don't think they cover this game. I think the Raging Cajuns put up enough to keep it close with the home field advantage on a Tuesday night off day. Stadium will be rocking, nothing else to do. So I like the Cajuns plus the 5 points.
All right, Flat Top, what about yourself?
As far as I'm concerned, Marley gave pretty spot on commentary. I think it's going to come down to quarterback play. They Lafayette struggled last week from the quarterback, like he was saying, 9 for 20. I think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. It's going to come down to a lot of like time management. So for that reason alone, I think it's also going to be pretty tight, just because this is like a revenge game for App State, trying to avenge that one loss, last season. I think they're going to put the ball on the ground a lot this game, more than usual. So for that reason, I am sticking with the under full game, the 56. I just think they're going to run predominantly, and it's not going to really get into a shootout. It'll still be tight, but I'm seeing probably like last week, that 2018, maybe like a 24-20. I just don't see it being 30 points on each side of the ball. So under 56 is my official play for this one.
Okay, so Flat Top likes the under for this game. As for myself, with the injuries right now to the running back position, man, App State, they rely heavily on that complemented backfield. With Harrington, with Peoples, backup Noel, I think he's just not coming off an injury. It's going to be very important to see. Now, these guys didn't have a game this past weekend, so they've actually been off for quite some time now. So we do also got to keep in mind, who's going to be a little bit rusty, who's going to be able to knock that rust off. Now, I do know that, going into the Louisiana around this time on a weekday can be very dangerous, nationally televised game. And this is an upset game, a revenge game for App State. But, you're going on the road. I've actually seen this team on the road a couple of times struggle, but in the second half, they kind of run away with it. With that running back situation going on right now with App State, I got to ride with the home team right now, and I'm confident that I like the home team to win outright money line. This UL Lafayette team has been around. They have been a cohesive unit now for the last couple of years. Lewis, the quarterback, he's a vet now, and he's been there for running the show for the last couple of years as well. So I feel really confident about this. I think the defenses both match up well. Though they lost to they barely beat a South Alabama team, but that South Alabama team that program has been growing consistently year after year after year. But with that being said, I like UNL Lafayette with the money line right here. What is it, like plus 155 or something like that? Don't know, but
I got them up. Let me see. It is plus 175.
Oh, even better. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Raging Cajuns to win this game at home. Keep it simple. And if they can stop the running game, and if they're having those injuries right now at the running back side of the ball with App State, I like Lafayette to take this game. All right, let's get to our next game. This one's actually our first game for the Thursday slate. We got Georgia Southern taking on South Alabama. This line actually opened up in favor of South Alabama -3, and it's kind of been stayed at the same spot. There are some places right now have it at 3.5. The total opened up at 53.5. Right now, that line's at 50. Depending on what side of the ball, what side of the bet you want to take, there are some spots right now that have it at 49.5. The Eagles of Georgia Southern, they're 2-4 on the year, 3-3 against the spread, while South Alabama Jaguars, they're 3-2 on the year, and 2-3 against the spread. See if there's any major injury reports. Southern Alabama, Bradley, at linebacker, he's been out for the season. They also lost a nose tackle, Adcock. Running back A. Jones is questionable with a ankle injury, and they did lose a cornerback, Canteen. He's out for the season. South Alabama injury reports: linebacker Rosette, he is out for the season. Running back K. Walker, he's questionable with a quad injury for this game. They do lose Daly Jr., wide receiver. He left the team earlier this year, and strong safety Bonger is out for the season. Georgia Southern, they are coming off a 27-24 loss against Troy. while South Alabama's coming off a 31-33 loss against Texas State. Get to these actual factuals. So Georgia Southern, 3-6 against the spread in the last 9 games. They're 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games this year, 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games against South Alabama. But they are a whopping 7-0 straight up in the last 7 games when playing against South Alabama. But 0-6 straight up in the last 6 games when playing on the road, 2-4 straight up in the last 6 games this season. And they are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games against a Sun Belt Conference opponent. South Alabama, they are 3-6 against the spread in the last 9 games. The unders hit 10 out of the last 13. The unders also hit 6 out of the last 7 when playing at home. They're 1-7 straight up in the last 8 games against the Sun Belt Conference opponent, and 4-2 against the spread in the last 6 games whenever they play in Week 7. Georgia Southern, South Alabama. Flat top, I'm gonna let you take this one. How do you feel about this?
So I don't know a whole bunch about the Sun Belt Conference. I'm just going off of, opponents that they've played, kind of stats that they've been putting up. To me, and looking at the Georgia Southern, they played, they had that blowout to Arkansas. They played FAU, and just looking at their game points that they score versus what they allow, they give up more points than they get. So that is a losing formula. It's almost 8-point difference. So they make 24, give up 32. But again, they have those blowouts to Arkansas, and then they played against an Arkansas State team, which played no defense. So there was just a lot of scoring in that game. I'm just going to roll with the fact that this is the home team. I would just do money line because it's at 3. I'm not super confident, but just
you don't have to do a play. You could pass.
I know, but I'm gonna pass.
I just want you to know because this goes on your record.
Yeah, but I think it's for money line. I'll take South Alabama money line. I don't think Georgia Southern's that good of a team, and South Alabama could just win at home.
So I'm gonna mark you down for South Alabama. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
You could pressure that man in his bed.
No, I told him he didn't have to make a play because I wanted him to think this shit don't count on your record. So don't be just because it's on here. Don't think just because we're capping the game means you have to make a play.
I just think I'm more confident in the Saturday games, but Georgia Southern, and as far as who they've played, because I think they both played. They had a common opponent. And
I got it right here. I want to say it was. Hold on. It is.
It's Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, UL.
They played Lafayette,
but they're both about the same. South Alabama only lost by 2 points, and
lost by 8.
Right.
Yeah, that's more than 3. I'll take the Southern Alabama money line.
All right, Marley, how you feel?
All right, so pretty much, flat top. All right, so this is how I feel. Let me just start with this. Georgia Southern, not Georgia Southern, South Alabama, schedule-wise, I think Georgia Southern has had the tougher schedule overall. I'm looking at South Alabama's schedule, and I see Bowling Green, Alcorn. They got the common opponent in UL, and then Texas State, which went into 4 overtimes. In Georgia Southern, you got Arkansas, UL, Arkansas State, which they won, and then Troy, and an FAU opponent before Arkansas State. Georgia team, to me, even though they're giving up 32 points a game, I think that's based off the schedule. I think they're the better team. This is what it is, though. Georgia Southern can run the ball. They go tote that pill. I want to say triple option, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes I get Georgia Southern and Georgia State confused. But I think Georgia Southern is the triple option team that I'm thinking about. And this game is going to boil down to, can Southern Alabama stop the run? Can they stop Logan Wright? which is the running back for Georgia Southern. The man is averaging 7.25 yards a touch with 5 touchdowns and 475 yards on the season. I'm taking the upset here in this game. I'm going to take Georgia Southern, and I'm going to take them on the money line in a tight game. I don't think they'll be able to. I think the fourth quarter, they're going to wear this team down. It's going to be too much Logan Wright. And quarterback-wise for both teams, I'm just not impressed. As long as Tomlin, who has thrown 4 interceptions, doesn't turn the ball over, I think they'll be fine. Because Bentley on the other side, he's only thrown 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, so it's not like they're throwing the ball all over the place. So I think this game is going to come down to which team can stop the run more. I think Georgia Southern's been a little bit more tested in who they play, and they have the better running game than South Alabama does. So I'm taking Georgia Southern, and I'm taking them on the money line. South Alabama has the 9th worst ranked offense in college football. So,
and that's not good at all in college football, as we know.
not the conference in college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna roll with Georgia Southern money line.
All right, Marley likes Georgia Southern. I'm gonna have to ride with them too. And in fact, you are correct, sir. Georgia Southern is the triple option. They can run it. They run the triple option out of shotgun. They run it out of the pistol formation. So they were pretty good last year as well, running it. Not sure how many returners they lost or have coming back, but to turn around and prepare for the game like this for South Alabama, and you're not being able to score. I've seen the Georgia Southern's team score a lot on the Sun Belt, and just looking at the statistics, traditionally South Alabama just doesn't have that history on their side whenever they jumped up to join Division I football. So I'm right there with you, Marley. I like Georgia Southern. I like them to come out here and confuse the South Alabama defense and just run it up. So I'm right there with you. I like Georgia Southern with the money. All right, let's get to our next game. This is actually Friday night action. We got, I'm very scared of playing inside of the dome for national televised Friday games, but we have Clemson taking on the Syracuse Orangemen. This line actually opened up in favor of Clemson, -17. That line is now at -14, 14.5 at some places, just depending on where you find it. The total opened up at 45.5, and it stayed consistent pretty much. It went down a point, but it's kind of all over the place based on the numbers. Clemson Tigers 3-2 on the year, 0-5 against the spread, while the Orangemen are 3-3 on the year, and they are 5-1 against the spread. Trying to get to these injury reports. As we know, Clemson has a plethora of injuries. Spector, linebacker, he is questionable for undisclosed reason. Galloway, he left the last game with concussion, so he's questionable for this week. Goodrich, corner, questionable, undisclosed. Justin Ross, concussion, he's probable for this game this week. They did lose Davis, Johnson, and Breeds, all defensive linemen. They are out for the season. Wide receiver Ladson Jr. is dealing with a groin injury. He's questionable. Offensive lineman Putnam, he missed the last game, so he's questionable this week with a toe injury. And wide receiver Spector's little brother, he is out indefinitely with COVID-19. Xanders, the safety, out for the season. I mean, this team is filled with injuries all over the place. Shipley, running back, he's out indefinitely as well. They're just plagued with injuries, as with Syracuse. Running back Adams, he's questionable for undisclosed issues. Tisdale, offensive lineman, he's questionable with a lower body injury. Benson, the tight end, is questionable. Defensive back Carter, he's questionable as well. And Williams, the punter, is questionable. All of these guys have undisclosed injuries. So it's very, you definitely want to keep an update and a lookout on what's going on for the Orangemen side of the ball. Now, Clemson is coming off a 19-13 victory against Boston College, while Syracuse netted up this last weekend and lost to Wake Forest 37-40, while they were up for majority of that game. Get these actual factors. Clemson 0-6 against the spread in the last 6 games. The under say 4 out of the last 5. They're 13-4 straight up in the last 17 games this year. Well, not this year, but the last 17 games. They're 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 games of playing against Syracuse. 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games against Syracuse. 14-2 straight up in the last 16 games on the road. But 0-5 against the spread this season in the last 5 games. Syracuse, they're 7-1 against the spread in the last 8 games, 3-11 straight up in the last 14 games. The under say 4 out of the last 5 games against Clemson. They're 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games when playing at home. But they're 0-9 straight up in the last 9 games when playing against an ACC opponent. And the overs hit 5 out of the last 6 games when the Orangemen are playing in October. So we got the Clemson Tigers taking on the Syracuse Orangemen. Marley, I'm going to let you take this one first. How do you feel?
Man, that was a whole host of fucking injuries.
Yes.
Rattled off for Clemson. Man, wow. However, it's still Clemson and Syracuse, and we're talking completely different athletes and when I say different athletes, I just mean on a whole nother level. We're talking 4- and 5-star recruit versus 3, maybe some 4s, rarely a 5, probably just 3s and 2s, sprinkle some 4-star recruits in there against majority 4- or 5-star recruits. It's still a different level of competition. However, Friday Night Lights, anything can happen. 14 points is a lot. I can see Syracuse giving you a backdoor cover or even keeping it tight until the end with all the injuries you reeled off. But my thing is this when it boils down to it. Even though Clemson is not the Clemson that we've been traditionally used to seeing over the last 4 or 5 years, however long, they've been challenging Alabama, their defense is still good. They're still only allowing 12.2 points a game. I'm going to take the under 45. I think Syracuse is going to struggle to score, period, regardless if they're missing Ross and they're missing this running back. It's for Clemson. The offense may struggle to score because of all the injuries you just named. So that's what would scare me away from the 14. But still, with that said, this offense isn't going to score upwards of 24, 25 points because of the injuries you just named. But the defense is still good enough to hold Syracuse under 20 points. So I like the under 45. I'm looking at like a 24-10, 24 to maybe even 14 type of ball game. Low 40s, high 40s. Under. I'm gonna stay away from the side. There's too many injuries on the Clemson side.
All right, Flat Top, how do you feel about this one?
Same thing. That's a long list. I was hoping Marley wasn't gonna go for the under, but if you look at this team, they're just devastated on offense, but their defense is still pretty solid. This Syracuse team, I think they're rushing for over 200 yards a game. They're not doing that against Clemson. You look at the numbers, Clemson played Georgia Tech, which is, triple option. They're a run team, and they held Gibbs pretty low. But it was a low-scoring game, 14-8. I think this 100% goes under 45. This should be a low-scoring game. Clemson's defense is good. The question is the offense. It's a lot of points, which is why I'm not confident on the minus 14, but it should 100% go under 40, 45. I think that's the play here. So under 45.
Thing I forgot to mention. My bad, Flat Top. I'm so sorry, bro.
No, okay.
I thought you were done. One last thing. Clemson only had 2 games that went over 45. One of those games was against South Carolina State, where they scored 49 of the into 3, and the other game was North Carolina State. And Syracuse offense is no North Carolina State's offense. They can actually throw the ball.
Exactly. So
you have the perfect point with they average 242 yards rushing. They're not going to get that.
Yeah. So I think that has to be the smart play here is the under 45 for me. I don't know what they'll do in the first half, but it seems pretty solid for second half. If it's stout on the front end, it'll be stout on the back end, and I could just totally see that 24-14 or 24-10 should hit right around 35. So that's what I'm rocking with. Official play under 45.
Now y'all know me. I don't do unders, but y'all made some hellified points. If I were to lean, I'd probably lean Syracuse with these points just because Syracuse loves games like this, and they love to come out and play against Clemson, no matter if it's on the road or at home. And I'm talking about when Clemson be having some studs. So I do like.
Do you trust Dino?
Well, it don't even matter. I'm not making a play on official play on either side. If I had to lean, I'd do Syracuse. But I'm not a totals guy, but I do like what y'all are telling me. I'm gonna go ahead and take the under. I can definitely see it like 34, 34-10, 31-10 or 31, maybe 14, something like that.
One more thing with you saying that before you go, because I agree with everything you just said with except for the score. With the exception of that South Carolina State game, Clemson has not scored more than 21 points in any game this season.
Well, I'm just saying, worst case scenario, 31-14,
Right.
maybe 34-13. This under should hit. Now,
Right.
Clemson all of a sudden want to come out and just start blowing the doors.
Right, that might be right.
What we don't want is a 24-20. What we don't want is Syracuse to go up early, and be it in and have like 17-10, something like that. We don't want Syracuse.
You don't want fluke touchdowns early. Punt returns, kick returns, trick plays. Like,
I mean, that could happen. Syracuse going to throw the book, especially at this moment of the year when they don't have nothing to lose. Expect some trickery.
So they're going to do them. I expect the plays, but I'm saying Clemson has to not let them score off them.
And everybody wants to know what's going on with Clemson. In my opinion, they can't run the ball right now. Their run always opens up the RPO game and always opens up the passing game.
I think that too, but I think DJ is young, if I'm not mistaken. He just
he is, but I mean,
he hasn't.
Trevor Lawrence was young. Travis Etienne was young.
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson was young when he got thrown in the mix.
But look at the two guys you named. One was a prodigy since the age of 10 in Trevor Lawrence, and the other is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game right now. So,
and Big Cinco had more publicity and more pub coming out of high school than both of them dudes combined. DJ Ungalugale
he's not better than them.
But we're talking about the hype behind him. He had more hype behind him than both of the Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence always had to deal with what's his name? Justin Fields in his shadow. With DJ, it was DJ, then Bryce Young, and everybody else. Played on the national championship. DJ's had more hype than any of those quarterbacks.
Well, hype doesn't make you good. Hype gives you hype. I think they'll be all right. He just needs a year. He needs time. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to just go out there and play against some of the better defenses in the league in college.
I hear you, but I'm just saying Watson did it and Lawrence did it.
Yeah,
and they both surrounded. And
he played at Bosco, didn't he? And
he went to St. Bosco. Tell him.
That's a talent. That's a talent farm. He was going to the best
I think he's talented. I think he just needs experience. Speaks for a lot, Coach.
Well, I'm just saying, compared to all the other cats that been coming in there, they didn't have no problems. But I mean, of course, I agree with you. But if you coming in as the man, you got to come show it. You got to come with it, big dog.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Trevor Lawrence came. The only difference between Watson and Lawrence, they got on the field as soon as they graduated and had to start. This dude had a year to sit behind somebody and learn the system.
But he doesn't.
That's the big difference.
He doesn't have a Travis Etienne. He doesn't have a Travis.
They got more at this moment in this program. they have way more 5-star players that came in, especially with his class, than they did previously.
I agree, but they're hurt. But they're hurt right now.
Yeah.
As you rattled off.
Because Travis Etienne wasn't Travis Etienne his first year, second year. He got started his second year.
But like you said, they're all hurt right now.
It's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of injuries. But even so, a lot of those guys started going down the last game. But before then, he had them all. He had them in the Georgia game. He had them in the Georgia Tech game. He had them.
That Georgia game, we know what Georgia is. So
right. But Georgia Tech.
I'm saying I think he needs time. He's not there. If we're saying is he there, I agree with you. No, he's not. He needs another year under his belt. Will he be Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Jackson? If I had to bet my money on it, I would say no. Even if he played better, those are probably two of the best quarterbacks to come through Clemson history. So is it even fair for me to say will he be them? I don't think that's fair.
Right.
It's two of the best quarterbacks to come through Clemson's in their entire school history. What's the odds better than them two?
Well, we all three of us like the under, so let's get on to our next game.
Give you an update quick, though. I think we're in the 9th. Oh, commercial breaks.
Means we are in the 9th.
We are in the 9th. I don't know the score, though, because I just got the sound playing. I'm looking at my stats.
We have San Diego State traveling to San Jose, California, take on San Jose State. This line opened up in -8 in favor of the Aztecs, and the line is still the same. The total opened up at 42.5. Right now, that line's at 41, 41.5, depending on where you find it in the books. We have it listed as 41.5. The Aztecs, back to their grind. They had an off year last year, but 5-0 on the year, 4-1 against the spread. While the Spartans were looking promising in the beginning of the year, they failed the last couple of games. They're 3-3 on the year, 1-5 against the spread. Get to these injury reports real quick. San Diego State safety Hawkins, he's questionable with a knee injury, and Branch, defensive back, corner, he's questionable with a hand injury at San Diego State. Nick Starkel, quarterback arm, he's questionable for this week. So we got to see what's going on with Mr. Starkel there, Mr. Transfer. Get to these extra factuals. San Diego State, they're 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games. They're underset 13 out of the last 20. They're 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games, 6-2 against the spread in the last 8 games against San Jose State, and 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games against San Jose State. And 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games when playing on the road against San Diego State. Actual factuals for San Diego State, they're 0-5 against the spread in the last 5 games. They're underset 9 out of the last 12. They're 11-4 straight up in the last 15 games. The underset 6 out of the last 7 against San Diego State. They're 8-0 straight up in the last 8 games at home. And just 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games when playing at home against San Diego State, which I mentioned earlier. But they are 9-1 straight up in the last 10 games when playing against a Mountain West Conference opponent. San Diego State versus San Jose State. Flat top, since you're from the West Coast, I'm going to let you take this one on, sir.
For this one, this is Cali, actually Southern California for both of these. It's not a home game, but you're going to have a lot of fans from both sides going to this. I don't think that there's really going to be an advantage to San Jose State playing at home. San Diego State is a run-it-up team. I think their quarterback's thrown like 60 times in the 5 games. So that's their starting QB. So I expect a lot of running on their end, kind of grind it out. It's probably why the under is so low. San Jose State, they've played USC earlier on, which, you thought what USC was going to be, and we're obviously seeing.
San Jose State.
San Jose State did, yeah. And they only put up 7 points in that game. Just watching some of their opponents and who they've played, I think San Diego State's going to end up beating them by more than the 8. I like that it is only 8. So for full game play, I think San Jose State's going to struggle to score. I don't know how many points San Diego State's going to put up, but I think they'll get on them early and often, and their defense will hold San Jose State to under 20. So I am rocking with San Diego State -8 fish play in this one.
All right. Marley, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I feel completely the same way. I discovered the San Jose State team last year, and they were a pretty good team. I don't know who left and what changes happened. Nick Starkel's not playing quarterback the way he was last year. He was slinging the ball all over the place. He's 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. This San Diego State, like you mentioned, they had an off year last year, but the couple years before that, they were playing pretty good football, and off to playing pretty damn good football. Right now, the defense seems to be back. That's what has been their strong suit or their calling card. Like they're giving up 16 points a game. Offensively, they are about to run the ball down San Jose's throat. They average 244 rushing yards a game. They only give up 50 yards rushing a game. The defense is good. I think Flat Top's right. They're going to struggle to score. And I just think they're going to run this ball down their throat. I want to take the under, but it's so low. But I'm definitely on San Diego State -8. I don't know how much they get, but I just think there's no way that San Jose State is going to be able to slow down the run game of Bell, the running back, and Brookshire, the quarterback for San Diego. I'm all over the 8 here. I think it'll be easy. Unless for whatever strange reason San Jose State jumps out on top by like 2 scores or more and force them to throw the ball, but I don't see that happening. They give up 140 yards a game rushing already. They're going to give up 200 yards rushing this game at least. So yeah, San Diego State -8.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, especially if Starkel's having some questionable injury issues. This San Diego State, they play. Now, you want to talk about Big Ten team play style? They play that style on the West Coast: run, pass, play action, over the top, hit you with the head, play some tough defense. With a lot of man coverages, a lot of blitzes. I could definitely see them covering this easy. Now, it is kind of, I don't know if it's a rivalry game, but it's an in-state rivalry game. And it's a chance, for them to showcase what they can do on national televised TV. But with Starkel even being on the injury report, that makes me definitely nervous to back anything with San Jose. Like I said, teams that are trending up versus teams that are trending down. This is a perfect spot. San Diego State is that team that's trending up, and unfortunately, San Jose State in the last couple of weeks have been trending down. So I got to back up San Diego State right here with the 8. Let's get to our last game of the weekday action, which we got another West Coast. We got the Oregon Ducks hosting the Cal Bears. This line opened up in favor of Oregon, -14. Right now, you can kind of catch them at 13.5. The total's at 55.5. Right now, that line is kind of pretty consistent. You can catch some 55s, 55.5s around the board. Get to these statistics and these actual factuals. Cal Bears are 1-4 on the year, 2-3 against the spread, while the Oregon Ducks are 4-1 on the year and 1-4 against the spread. Injury reports, because it's very important to look at the injuries on the Oregon side of the ball. But for Cal right now, Remy Gio, wide receiver, he's questionable for this game with undisclosed. They did lose a linebacker, Dane. He's out indefinitely. Running back Brooks, he's questionable with a lower body injury. And Cal Bears did lose a nose tackle, McKenzie, who's out for the season. Oregon Ducks, man, this is a long list. So to start off with, we got Mathis, linebacker, out indefinitely. Tight end McCormick, he's out for the season. Defensive back Williams, he's out for the season. And we just heard Verdell, he's out for the season as well. The best player on that team, a future top 10 pick, Thibodeau, he is out for the first half due to targeting. Tight end Herbert, he's questionable. That's Herbert's little brother. Running back Dollars, he's questionable as well. Now, they do have some suspensions. Hill suspended. they got suspensions on the defensive side of the ball. Hill, James, Greenfield, all defensive backs suspended. Swinson, defensive end, he's suspended as well, but undisclosed, but he's questionable. They lost Flo, the linebacker, stud linebacker, he's out for the year. Walden, offensive lineman, he's questionable as well. Cal Bears coming off a 21-6 loss against Wazoo, while Oregon Ducks are coming off a 31-24 loss a couple of weeks ago to Stanford. Get to these actual factuals. Cal Bears, they're 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games, 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 games against Oregon, 2-10 straight up in the last 12 games against Oregon, and 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games on the road. 0-6 straight up in the last 6 games on the road in Oregon. The Ducks, they are 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games this year. The unders gone 6 out of the last 8. They're 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games. The unders hit 13 out of the last 20 against Cal, 15-0 straight up in the last 15 home games. 6-0 straight up in the last 6 games against Cal. 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games this season. 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games against a Pac-12 opponent. And the unders hit 9 out of the last 12 games when the Ducks play in October. Oregon Ducks taking on the Cal Bears. Flat top, since you're on the West Coast, I'm going to let you take this one again, man. How you feel?
This one, I think, should be easy money. I think Oregon is, even though they haven't been good at covering and they've lost Verdell, their backup, Dye, is actually pretty solid. He had a couple good games. They were, running back by committee. Verdell was definitely their stud, but I think Dye is going to get it done. Anthony Brown has looked really good from me watching him moving. They had that upset against Ohio State. He was kind of moving against that Stanford team. Cal is just not their one victories against like a Sacramento State squad that hasn't really played anyone. They're not very good. I think, long story short, Oregon should beat them pretty good. I think second half, when Thibodeau comes back, whatever momentum Cal thought they had, unless they jump out to, the kind of Texas A&M lead that we saw this last weekend, Oregon should be good for second half when they get their stud back. I think they'll be up in the first half. I just don't want to touch it without, their main guy out there, but I think 13.5 for Oregon at home it should be easy for them. Cal's going to try and go out there and pull the upset, throw the ball, spread them out. But long story short, Oregon's just still, even with their injuries, more talented than this Cal team. So I expect them to take care of business. So official play, Oregon at that 13.5, even though it is a lot.
All right, Marley.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a beatdown. Cal is awful. I have no love or respect for Cal. The only win they have is against a Sacramento, I believe. They got destroyed by Washington State, as you stated last week, 21-6. Overtime loss at Washington. Lost TCU. I guess it was TCU in Nevada. But even though you rattled, the only reason I'm not taking the first half is because Thibodeau is not playing.
Right. Smart man.
And that makes a big difference. So even though I think they still can cover, but they're kind of risky, that pass rush, Thibodeau should be, I think he's going to be a top 10 pick, maybe. Top 15 pick. But he's definitely a first rounder. So he's going to make all the world. But I do like Oregon minus 13. I got the under written down. The over written down to see if I want to make it official. If the crowd gets some two early touchdowns, I get the over because Oregon's going to score 30 of them. I'll just lean over. I won't make it official, but I'll make official the minus 13.5.
Minus 13.5. So I know Cal has they had a good defense last year. They played very physical, very disciplined team, but they just couldn't score They don't have good scoring. I need Oregon to get back to their bread and butter, run it up, and play some good ball. Hopefully, at this moment, Anthony, with that week off, Anthony Brown's back healthy. Most importantly, I hope the offensive coordinator is healthy and present, because that was a big issue when they went to go take on Stanford. They didn't have their OC, and you can definitely tell. Then with these couple of new injuries, with Flo and Burdell, that's very huge. They still got a couple of guys back there that can run. I think one of the guys' name is Dyke, if I'm not familiar. He doesn't wear any. He's been in the program now for years. But I like Cal. I like Oregon with the points. Hopefully they run it up. I would not do anything first half, but second half definitely jump on it. But we're gonna go 13.5 official play. But I would not be surprised, my brothers, if it's close just due to all the injuries that's going on. So don't do nothing first half, ladies and gentlemen. Do not. Real quick, Marley, you like Oregon with the points?
Yes, Oregon minus 13.5.
And flat top, you like that too as well, correct?
Yeah, Oregon with the points. It's all going to come down to second half. I think once Thibodeau comes back, whatever momentum Cal had, he's just a game changer, and I think he's going to disrupt the physicality will be just too much.
All right. Well, we'll review these picks right now. As far as myself, I like UL Lafayette Raging Cajuns money line. I like Georgia Southern money line. So we're looking at back-to-back underdogs right there. I'm going to ride with Flat Top and Marley. I don't do unders, but I do like this spot right here, under 45 in the Clemson and Syracuse game. And I like San Diego State as an 8-point favorite, and I like Oregon as a home favorite at double digits. Marley, UL Lafayette +5, Georgia Southern money line, Clemson, and Syracuse under 45. He likes San Diego State -8 and Oregon -13.5. Our boards actually look the same. The only difference is I'm taking UL Lafayette with the money. Flat top, he likes Appalachian State and UL Lafayette under 56. South Alabama money line, Clemson and Syracuse under 45, San Diego State -8, and Oregon -13.5. Did I miss anything, fellas?
Nope. Look good.
All right. Real quick, guys, we will be shooting our show tomorrow night. We probably might go a little early if the schedules permit. Might as early as 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. But we will have our NFL show regular time, 9 p.m. on Wednesday. You guys got anything? Braves, they won that game, by the way.
Yep. Braves won 3-0.
All right, well, let's get on out of here. Got to get ready for practice, and I'm pretty sure y'all got a lot of stuff to do. So, Marley, you want to lead us with our slogan?
Yes, sir. As always, people, y'all know what it is. Let's keep Vegas. And we out this mother.
Check it out. Look, we from the bottom, ain't no problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look,